Hello guys, this is from Mrs. Abbie. Welcome to part 4 of the series called Year-Round Healthy Indoor Plants. If you want to watch the other 3 parts, I will leave a link down below. In part 4, I will be sharing some information on water and how it impacts your indoor plants year-round, especially fall and winter. So let's get started. As you all know, water is one of the essential things all plants need to live. But did you know that there are factors that determine the amount of water you should give your indoor plants? And there are also factors that determines the frequency of watering your indoor plants? Many of us tend to place our entire indoor plant collection on a watering schedule such as twice a week, once a week, or some other schedule. Putting all your plants on a schedule can be very dangerous for your houseplants. I know that when you have a lot of houseplants, it is much easier to just pick a day of the week to water all of them on the same day and get it over. But for the sake of getting your indoor plants healthy and keeping them healthy year-round, don't put them on a watering schedule, especially during fall and winter. Now on to the factors that determines how often you should water your plants and how much water to give them. The amount of water you should give your indoor plants and the frequencies of watering your indoor plants can depend on 12 factors. 1. The size of the pot the plant is in. 2. The size of the roots of the plants. 3. The size of the plant. 4. The locations of the plant inside your home. 5. The season. 6. The type of plant it is. 7. Whether the plant needs to be repotted or not. 8. The type of ingredients in the soil. 9. The age of the plant. 10. The room temperature where the plant is located. 11. The health or condition of the plant. And finally, 12. The amount of soil in the pot. Now, let's discuss each factor. 1. The size of the pot the plant is in can make a difference in the amount of water you give your indoor plants and how often to water your indoor plants. When it comes to the amount of water you should give your indoor plants, a 4-inch pot filled with soil will require less water than a 6-inch pot. A 6-inch pot will require less water than an 8-inch pot, and so forth. The smaller the pot, the less water it will require. On the other hand, when it comes to how often to water your houseplants, the smaller the pot, the quicker the soil will dry out, therefore requiring more watering frequencies than for larger pots filled with soil. Larger pots tend to stay moist a lot longer therefore may not need to be watered as often as small pots. For this reason, it's a bad idea to schedule all your plants to be watered the same day. 2. The size of the roots of the plant is another factor that determines the frequency and the amount of water your plants should receive. Indoor plants that have large roots or that have a lot of roots will require more water than plants that are smaller or have fewer roots. So it's a good idea to know the size of the roots of your indoor plants so you can determine the proper amount of water to give your indoor plants. 3. The size of the plant is another factor that determines the frequencies and the amount of water your plant should receive. Small or shorter plants will require a lot less water than a tall or larger plant. However, the smaller the plant, the less soil it has, which means the soil will dry out faster, therefore requiring more watering frequencies. So smaller plants will require less water, but will need to be watered more often than larger plants. Let's take a look at this very large plant right here. In order for this entire tall, large plant to be evenly hydrated, the roots needs to get enough water to travel all the way up and around the entire plant. A full bushy plant with lots of leaves will require more water than a plant with less leaves. In contrast, this smaller plant right here will require less water, but will probably need to be watered more often than the larger plant due to the smaller plant's soil drying out faster than the large plant soil. 4. The location of the plant. Where you put your plants can determine if it needs to be watered more often than not. If a plant is in a room with lots of sunlight, it will need to be watered more often than a plant that is located in a low light room. The sun will dry out the soil faster, so the plant will need to be watered as soon as the soil dries out. A houseplant in a low light area will stay moist longer, therefore requiring less watering frequencies. 5. The season. Each season comes with different hours of daylight and different temperatures. Less sunlight means your plants will stay moist longer, therefore requiring less water and less watering frequency. However, during the spring and summer, it is the reverse. Your indoor plants will require more watering frequencies and more water due to the warmer and hotter temperatures outside. The hotter the weather, the faster the soil will dry out, therefore causing your plants to need more water and more water frequencies. The best way to control this is to keep your thermostat inside your home between 65 and 75 degrees. Therefore, your plants won't know the difference between the seasons because the inside temperature in your home will be constant. 6. The type of plant is another factor that can determine how often to water your indoor plants and how much water your indoor plants need. Each individual plant requires a different watering frequency. It doesn't matter if all your indoor plants are the same type of plants. Each plant should be treated as an individual. Although you might have several same types of houseplants, each plant will probably require different amounts of water and different watering frequencies because each plant might be in different size pots, have different sizes of roots, is located in different rooms with different sunlight levels, and some other factors mentioned in this video. So remember, don't schedule your plants to be watered the same day simply because they are the same type of plant. You have to test each plant separately to see if they need to be watered before watering them. Otherwise, you risk damaging your indoor plants by giving it water when it doesn't need it or by not giving it water when it needs it. 7. Another factor that determines the frequencies and the amount of water your plants should receive is whether the plant needs to be repotted or not. When a plant's roots fill the entire pot, the plant will need to be watered more often than a plant that doesn't need to be repotted. That's because when you have a plant with more roots than soil, there's not enough soil to hold the moisture. Therefore, the plant needs to be watered more often. The more soil in the pot, the less the plant needs to be watered because it has enough soil to hold moisture longer. 8. The ingredients in the potting mixture is another factor that determines the amount of water your indoor plants need and the frequencies in which the plant needs to be watered. There are some ingredients that you can find in potting mixes that can help your plant retain moisture longer. If your plant soil has any ingredients that helps with the moisture retention, then you probably won't have to water the plants as often. So make sure you check the ingredients in the soil. 9. The age of the plant is another factor that determines the frequency and the amount of water your plant should receive. The older the plant, the more fragile a plant gets, but that does not mean you can treat all aged plants equally when it comes to watering them. Again, plants might be the same age, but might be planted in different types of soil, have more or less leaves, be located in different rooms, and is receiving different light levels. Therefore, be careful putting all your older plants on the same watering schedule and giving them the same amount of water. 10. The room temperature is another factor that determines the frequencies and the amount of water your plants should receive. The temperature of the room your plants are in plays a very important role when it comes to how often your indoor plants are watered. Plants located in rooms with high temperatures will require more watering frequencies than plants located in low temperature rooms due to the soil drying out faster in rooms with higher temperatures. The best indoor temperature for most plants year-round is between 65 and 75 degrees. 11. The condition and health of the plant is another determining factor. A plant in soil that has root rot, brown tips, or yellow leaves will need to dry completely out between watering for a while until the plants get healthy, whereas a dehydrated plant might need to be watered more to help with the dehydration of the plant. So make sure to examine your houseplants often to see how they are doing and to see what they need before placing them on a routine watering schedule. And finally, 12. The amount of soil in the pot is also a factor that can determine the amount of water your plant needs and how often to water your indoor plants. Large plants in a pot that have a large amount of soil will require less watering frequencies than a small plant that's in a pot with a small amount of potting mix. Bigger plants in a pot filled with a lot of potting mix will take longer to dry out all the way to the bottom, therefore not needing to be watered as often as a small plant in a pot with less soil. So be careful with the watering schedule for larger plants that have lots of soil. On the screen now you will see a video that will show you a proper watering method you can use year-round, including this fall and winter. So go ahead and watch it next in order to understand how to properly water your indoor plants. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.